my family's very memorable because everybody's like, Jeter, Jeter, because my dad, his second cousin is Derek Jeter because their great grandfathers are brothers.
Wait,
So
what?
everybody knows us from that. Oh yeah, my dad has my dad and him. When you put their pictures side by side, people are like, oh my gosh, I'm going to do it. And I had to start giving myself grace, understanding that it can always get better. Because I still watch my first video like, oh my goodness. But I was like, you know what, Ashley, make 12 goals for yourself this year and do it. Do it, because I saw someone online say one time, when you make a deadline for it, it has to happen. And so for me, I was like, I've been planning all this. Like I have emails for 2020, from all this stuff. I have even an LLC for something that 2020 and 2019 that I'm like, this is the year, this is my golden year. This is the year I'm making all my dreams come true. I was like, I will just start it. I will fail, but I will try and fail before I not try.
Turn this up, turn this up.
Your professional development is one of the keys to your career success. When you combine your desire to grow with actionable steps, your journey to success becomes an incredible reality.
Hi, I'm Paul Faronbi, aka IncrediPaul, and welcome to IncrediPaul Leadership, where we learn how to become the most incredible versions of ourselves by learning from each other. Today, I have the honor of having Ashley Jeter on the show. She's studying metallurgical engineering. That's a mouthful to say, but that's awesome. And material science at the University of Alabama. She currently works in the aerospace industry at Lockheed Martin. We're going to get into the conversation, but I forgot to mention, for those of you listening, I appreciate you listening. Also want to make sure that you can watch the show on YouTube. Regardless if you're listening or watching the show, thank you so much for your support. So Ashley, I briefly introduced you, but how about you introduce yourself the way you would do it?
Okay. Well, first of all, Paul, thank you for having me. You have an amazing platform, and I'm so super excited to be here today. I am Ashley Jeter, as you mentioned. I am a Georgia native from Alpharetta, Georgia. I attended the University of Alabama, Roll Tide, where I studied metallurgical engineering and material science. I then went into the workforce in the aeronautics industry, and I got to get my master's while I am there at Vanderbilt University, and I studied engineering management. And most recently, I started my own platform, All Things STEM with Ashley, just to bring a community together to learn about different things and the different types of STEM you can go into, learning about mentorship, professional development, and just have a community for that transition from college to the workplace and just learning about all things STEM. So I'm super excited to be here, and thank you again for the opportunity.
Absolutely. No, I'm super excited to have you as well. Let's dive into all things STEM with Ashley right away. I'm learning a little bit about that, and I'm excited about what you're doing with it. What has been the inspiration, or what was the reason why you wanted to start this?
So when I first graduated college, I was like, when you look on YouTube, you find engineering videos either for a college course or it goes all the way down to like elementary school, very basic. It's nothing for really the in between. And a lot of times in college, when we're learning about our majors, we go to our classes and we get our degree, but we don't know all the different fields that we can actually go into till we're in the field trying to learn it. Another reason I started the platform is because unless you have a parent or a mentor when you get into the workplace from the college field, it's very different. You have to learn by trial and error. You have to have a mentor to help you see this is the bigger picture. What is your North Star? What is your 5-year plan? This is business acumen. And unless you have a mentor, you don't know. And so I was like, I want to have a place where people can have a community and learn from people that look like them, that are around their same age group. Even, we have guests of all ages, but it's different seeing it from someone that's your peer versus somebody that's like a professor. So I wanted something where people could come, learn, and grow and have a community to ask those questions, to learn things that we don't learn in school so that we could be successful in the workplace and really navigate to the best of our ability in our careers. So that's a little bit about why I started. I also believe mentorship is super important. So that's a key pillar and learning how to network and how to build genuine networking relationships and following up and making sure you provide value. It's different things that you have to navigate. It's not a tit for tat thing. It's not just what can I get out of someone, but you have to learn to bring value as well. So it's just different things that you have to learn by doing that. If I can help somebody, I want to help somebody. So that's a little bit about all things with Ashley.
It's really good, especially the piece you talked about, learning by doing, and really
Yeah.
mentorship being so critical.
Yes.
Because when you're getting into any career, then both of us focusing on STEM careers, you
Mhm.
often don't know what it looks like until you're in it. Like
Yes.
you really don't. Like we take all these classes. Sometimes they'll bring people from tree in, but we have internships too. Because I know I mean, there's other disciplines that they have internships, but I think it's very more so intentional in STEM, especially in engineering. But even despite having internships, having the classes, all that stuff, it still looks different when you start working full time.
Yes, 100%. During my collegiate experience, I interned at Deloitte in Hermitage, Tennessee, and I interned at NASA in Huntsville, Alabama at Redstone Arsenal. And even though I had those experiences, it was great. And you get to see day to day on the job and things like that. But even though when you're in that internship, it's 3 months, you don't get to see, okay, fourth quarter is crazy. First quarter, you have to plan to be successful for your other 3 quarters, different things like that, how to cross collaborate with other groups. You only see so much note taking as an intern or doing a few, projects. So you have to really learn, okay, what is conflict resolution? What is emotional intelligence? Understanding how to navigate different things and understanding that everybody doesn't think the same way as you, but you can use other people's perspectives to get together on a common goal and create a solution. So just learning that, promoting different ideas in your workplace and understanding one thing I had to learn is do not take things personal. People can have a bad day and take it out on you, and it has nothing to do with you. But little old me, it's like, and you have to learn those things, but you also have to learn how to be your authentic self in the workplace and bring that with you. And so those are all things that I feel like everybody should learn. So they don't have to learn like kind of we did the not even the hard way, but it took a longer way. So yeah.
Yeah, the longer way for sure. But I'm super excited with the platform that you've been building, really being intentional about highlighting these careers, especially I think the focus has been on minorities in STEM as well.
Yes.
So that's really cool because I know there's not a lot of us that look like us in STEM. There's a reason as
Yeah.
minorities for a reason.
Hmm.
Imposter syndrome is so real. So a lot of time
Yes.
you don't have it's already hard enough in STEM and careers and all this stuff as it is, but then when you don't have people that look like you as well, you can often ask the question, "Do I actually belong?" I don't know if
Yes.
you face that or if you come across people who felt that way.
So definitely imposter system is syndrome is very real. Like even since middle school, elementary, I've always been the only person that looked like me in my spaces. So when I got to the workplace, that's all it's ever been for me. Like even my graduating class was about 15 people, and I was the only like minority female in that whole graduating group at Alabama, a school with thousands of students. But you have to understand like you're doing the work too. You have your knowledge, you learn just like everybody else, and you have to be able to bring your principles and the knowledge you know to the table. You can't get intimidated by certain things because at the end of the day, you have to believe in yourself and say, I got this education, I did these classes, I know my knowledge. Let me just add my personality into it and get it going until we can solve the solution. And people, as time goes on, they will see your work and be like, okay, she's about business. Okay, she can do this. Okay, you can do this. But it's hard, and you have to have that support system and that mentorship to really help you get that confidence to speak up in those rooms where they look at you like, are you in the right place? Are you in the right building? Are you in the right meeting room? Yes, I am. Thank you.
Belong.
Not saying you always have to speak up, huh? Yes, you do belong. You don't always have to be the only one to say everything or the first to speak, but when it's warranted, of course, show, yes, I think this would be a great part of the solution. We all saw Hidden Figures and how amazing that was and how speaking up, you can solve world massive problems. And we just have to know, we have the education, we belong, and not let that really bother us. But it does take confidence in a support system.
No, that's really good. So I know we're mentorship being the common theme, and I know you talked about studying metallurgical engineering. I don't know why that's so hard.
Yeah.
I like really think about how
No,
this
it's okay.
and then material science. But was that always something that you are passionate about? Or kind of talk me through your STEM journey growing up? Like, what did you want to be versus like what you're doing now?
Yes. Okay. So I was first introduced to STEM in the sixth grade. My parents signed me up for after school program at my middle school. And I was like, Mom, I have to stay after. I can't go home like my friends. Like at first I was not feeling it. I was like, honey. So I went and, as kids, we just do what we're told. So, of course, I wasn't that much push up back after she signed me up, but I would get to go once a month and we would have different STEM activities we would do after school in sixth grade. Well, at the end of that program, I got to attend the Georgia Tech Society of Women Engineers. They had basically like a big fair, but they had a bunch of exhibits, things like that, and information. And that's when I was like, oh my goodness, this is amazing. They gave us, I will never forget, these little glowy pens. They had like crystals in it with a glowy pen in it. And you could twist it. Oh my goodness. It was so cute. I was like, I love this, but also seeing other women that look like me doing major things in different types of field of engineering and science and technology. It was like, wow. I continued into high school. And once I got to high school, they had opened the STEM Academy at a local school. So my parents actually got us to move out of our county for me to get into this school. So I got to be a part of the STEM Academy for 2 years. And I had a teacher named Professor Johnson, and we had to do a project on all the different types of STEM. So we had to learn all the different types and what it does and what they do. And I chose hardware engineering. I was like, well, I can make cell phones. I want to make laptops. Like I was so into the laptops and cell phones at the time. I had my Pink Razor as my first phone. And I was like, I want to get into smartphones. I want to do all this. So I was like, I don't want the software. Give me the hardware. So coming out of that part in my sophomore season, I was like, I want to do hardware. Well, as it came time to actually apply for colleges and do things for schools, my mom showed me metallurgical engineering because she was like, this is a versatile role where you can work in automotive industry, aerospace industry. You can work in the medical field with prosthetics or even like Alcon for your contacts. You can work in like Rubbermaid for Tupperware. It was a role that if I want to change my career, I don't have to go back to school to change industries. And that's the biggest point she was making to me. I can do anything I want with my same degree. So we were looking around at programs. It was like Georgia Tech, MIT, but we saw the University of Alabama. And that was something that was local because I was from Georgia. And that school ended up giving me the most scholarship money out of all the other schools that I applied to, like Auburn and Clemson and things like that. And another plus about the University of Alabama is they had a great marching band. I was in color guard and marching band all my high school years. I started in middle school when I was homeschooled. I was homeschooled actually for 7th and 8th grade prior to high school before I got in that STEM program. But that was a perk for me, having a great education, a great engineering program, and also being able to still pursue my passions and hobbies because I feel that's so important. And so that's how I actually got into metallurgical engineering. It was a small cohort at the University of Alabama. They had a great program. And we actually even had an African American associate dean at the time that was a female, which was wonderful. And she really took me under her wing and helped me, get to where I am today. So University of Alabama ended up being home. And I stuck with it all the way through. I never changed my major. I did at one time have computer science as my minor. Couldn't code, but it was the teacher, let me tell you, because he was not teaching that next semester. Okay. So, have my little journey and path, but metallurgical ended up being great for me. As I said, I interned at NASA. When I interned at NASA, that's how I found out about Lockheed. And Huntsville, they're all in a triangle down there, Boeing, Lockheed, and Redstone Arsenal. And from that moment at my NASA internship, I was like, I want to work for Lockheed one day. And it just worked out. I applied, and it came full circle. And I'm so thankful, so, so thankful. And I've been there ever since I graduated college, and I've absolutely loved it. So, yeah.
That's a really cool story of really how, from what you said, that your mom was able to talk you into choosing something that would be more versatile to
Yes.
being so that you had more options, you had more things you could do.
Mm-hmm. So, yes, I loved it. They always say mom knows best, and I guess this time she did. So it worked out. And I'm thankful. And I actually enjoy it, the versatility of it. Like she had always had a vision for me. So, yeah.
That's really cool. So even with that, I know you mentioned that you interned at NASA and then you kind of set you on course for Lockheed Martin. Like how early into your collegiate career was that internship? Was like after your freshman, sophomore, junior year?
So after sophomore year, I was at Deloitte. After junior year, I actually took 5 years for my degree program because I was in marching band. Certain
Yeah.
classes we weren't able to go to. Band was the priority. You had to literally sign a waiver to say, I need to miss band practice for this class. So I was
Wow.
5 years. I took my time. Yes, I took my time and enjoyed my 4 years of band and did an extra year so I was 5 years. So my third year, and I got the internship at NASA, and it was a great experience. And we got to actually work on the commercialization of patents. So basically using patents that they had did at space missions, trying to get them to sell them to other companies to say, here's a patent that's worked, kind of like how they did Velcro and different things. and say we would research the companies and see how, it could be useful to their company. So it wasn't even actually in material science that much, but it's still, I volunteered at NASA Day in the park, and that's how I found Lockheed's table. And so it kind of was a trickle effect.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And small world, at the time, the University of Alabama, the current CEO at the time had went to University of Alabama, and she would, Marilyn Houston, she would visit a lot to the business school, not really as much engineering, but I didn't even know that. Like when I was like, I want that, I want that, I want that. It was like, oh my gosh, when I got there, they're like, she went to your school and she graduated from there. I was like, oh my goodness, wow. So yeah, but I just loved everything about them, and it worked out.
That's really cool, from being involved in the band and then getting those internships with NASA. And then, so really it was from a volunteer experience that you found about
Yes.
Lockheed, and that set your trajectory to where you are right now. Seems like it.
Yes, I love volunteering. Volunteering is a passion of mine. Even in 2023, I got over 100 hours of volunteering. It's something very near and dear to me because I feel like exposure is so key, especially with our youth, like how I was exposed to sixth grade. It's it's a path that people don't have to take as STEM, but I want them to at least know it's an option. So, we always see the astronauts, we always see the teacher, we always see this, that, the other. I want to let them know the STEM is a path that you can go into as well. So just letting them know what it is, getting them familiar with it at an early age is super important to me, so they get that impact and that exposure to say, do I want to explore it more or not? But at least they know it's there. So that's always been near and dear to me since high school. My family was big into volunteering. I continue to volunteer. I love it. I do it as much as I can. So yeah.
Absolutely. Speaking of volunteering, and this is IncrediPaul leadership, I know that you've done some stuff in the leadership space through some organizations that you've worked with. So I'm just curious, like, I think it was a lot on the STEM side. So like, talk to me more about like, what is that has meant to you, like volunteering, and how like leadership like ties into it.
Yes, so Science ATL is a really great, amazing organization in Atlanta. They have things for a whole 32 days leading up to a big science fair. And they have multiple companies. They have 10,000 people filling up Piedmont Park, just exposing students to STEM things. So I always enjoyed volunteering with Science ATL when I was living in Atlanta. Of course, National Society of Black Engineers, Society of Women Engineers. You have all those organizations you can volunteer with, a lot of nonprofits, things like that, because everybody kind of has a different goal or a different audience that they're trying to gravitate to. So you get to learn for all different ages, different activities and things like that. So I've loved volunteering with all of those groups. Of course, I still get in the food banks, the clothing banks, things like that. But just doing different science activities and just knowing how to navigate it towards that audience. When I was volunteering at engineering in the classroom one year with my company, I actually reconnected with my kindergarten teacher. It was insane. Like, we didn't know it was going to happen. She was mind you, my favorite. Like, my parents and we lived down the street from her. Like, I would even take her Christmas gifts as a kid. Like, so when we saw each other, she started crying, and we could not believe it. And so we told her class, young kids don't understand. Like, we've connected after 20 something years. That's insane. And so it was really special. And she brought all her staff to see me. It was just great. Like, by volunteering, not only did I find the company I worked for, but I reconnected with my kindergarten teacher. And so that was just really special. My mom couldn't believe it. She remembered my mom. She remembered my sisters. My little brother wasn't born yet, but they were like, oh my goodness. And I was showing her pictures, just catching up. So that was something super unique. So volunteer has always been dear to my heart, but it's always brought beautiful things to me as well. So yeah.
That is so cool about just reconnecting with your kindergarten teacher, like 20 years
Yeah.
later. I don't
Yeah.
know, because I have, well, I want to say this similar story. I got to reconnect with my kindergarten teacher, but I was like in eighth grade, seventh or eighth grade.
Yeah.
So I can only imagine what it would be like when it was 20 years later and she still remembers
Yes.
your family and your mom and all
Yeah.
that. That's amazing.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, it was crazy. Like, it was such a small world because I don't know. When I tell you, when I signed up and for that school, like, it was a whole different county than where I went to elementary school. Like, I went to a private elementary school. They closed that school down. I went to a private school. This was a public school. It just happened to be in the same county as my job. And it just happened to be on engineering week. Like, it was not planned. It was so spontaneous. And I just happened to be in a time slot where her school came to the library because they rotated to us in the library to do the events. Like, it was no way that I can click, I want this lady's class. So it was crazy. And again, this wasn't exactly volunteering, but we volunteered together afterwards. I met a girl at my company that was in my my third grade class, and we connected. And she was trying to find our yearbook pictures. So I saw her name in a meeting one day. And I was like, that looks so familiar, but she went by a nickname. And I was like, no one has her last name. Like, let me message her. I messaged her. She's like, oh my gosh, Ashley Jeter. She remembered my mom immediately. She remembered my sisters immediately. She remembered my little brother because he was around then. Everybody remembers my parents. My family's very memorable because everybody's like, Jeter, Jeter, because my dad, his second cousin is Derek Jeter because their great grandfathers are brothers.
Wait,
So
what?
everybody knows us from that. Oh yeah. My dad my dad and him, when you put their pictures side by side, people are like, oh my gosh. In elementary school, they used to like fangirl. My mom would pull up the phone and say, Jane, pull up Derek Jeter, pull him up. And that she would put his face besides my dad's face, and everybody would like pass out. Like, screaming in the hallway. My dad just does it. My dad has like hazel green eyes. They turn blue depending on what shirt he has on. Anyway, people would just always remember Jeter because my mom would be like, yeah, like Derek Jeter. Yeah, like, I'm like, my goodness. So everybody remembers our last name. And everybody remembers my mom's energy because her energy is like mine times a billion. So everybody's going to remember those two things. And so anybody I've ran into, they remember those two things. So it is just like a small world. You know, me and my second grade friend, we still keep up. When I moved to Dallas last year, when she was here for a work trip, we got to have dinner together. Like, we keep in touch. Like, it's all just been, just good, just beautiful. And I'm thankful. So, yeah.
That's really cool. The funny thing is when you're talking about your last name, I'm a huge
Mhm.
football fan, so I was thinking like, okay, this sounds either because I didn't ask how to pronounce your last name. I was like, I hope I said it
Yeah.
right. I usually ask
Yeah.
at the beginning, but then the fact to know that your family is actually related to Derek Jeter, that's
Yeah.
really funny.
Yeah. People still look up like my social media and look up my dad like, oh my goodness, that is his cousin. Like, you can tell there's some connection. So yeah.
That that is really funny. So we talked a little bit about all things STEM with Ashley, and then
Yeah.
I guess, is there anything that you're excited about that you're doing with All Things STEM with Ashley? I don't know if you mentioned the podcast. I know there's also a podcast.
Thank you. Okay, so all thanks to my Ashley, let me make it clear, everyone. It's very separate from my job. This is a personal endeavor. It's not connected to anything with my career, anything with my job. So I just want to make that clear. But All Things Similar Ashley recently just became a podcast as well. It was something I wanted to do from the beginning, and I had to understand baby steps because All Things Similar Ashley started in 2020. And I had actually filmed some things, and I was like, it's not perfect. I'm not going to post it. I filmed again in 2021. It's not perfect. I'm not going to post it. When I got my fresh start to Dallas, I was like, you know what? I have the time. Let me start investing into the equipment, really doing my research, and like, really get back into this passion project that started in 2020. It's almost 5 years now. And, when the pandemic happened, I kind of just let it take me. Just like, okay, well, let me just get my master's to pass the time, let me just do these things. But I was like, this is something I've always wanted to do. And I feel like it's needed more so than ever right now. So I was like, okay, I'm going to do it. And I had to start giving myself grace, understanding that it can always get better because I still watch my first video like, oh my goodness. But I was like, you know what, Ashley, make 12 goals for yourself this year and do it. Do it. Because I saw someone online say one time, when you make a deadline for it, it has to happen. And so for me, I was like, I've been planning all this. Like, I have emails for 2020 from all this stuff. I have even an LLC for something that I got in 2020 and 2019 that I'm like, this is the year. This is my golden year because I turned 29 on December 29th last year. I was like, this is my golden year. It's the year I'm making all my dreams come true. I was like, I will just start it. I will fail, but I will try and fail before I not try. So I was like, okay, actually do it. Give yourself grace and just learn a little bit more each time and just learn by doing. And I've been blessed to have people come into my life like you and others that are like, hey, Ashley, here's a tip. Here's a tip. I get feedback from my friends. I just ask like, hey, can y'all check this out when you get a minute? And people, even non-STEM people, because I have a great church family and things like that, were like, Ashley, your New Beginnings video impacted me. It helped me. I was going through something and it reminded me to get my drive back. And it's so beautiful hearing people say, Ashley, you might not like that video, but it really helped me. And, people reach out. My first month having this platform up, I was asked to come be on a panel. I got to be on someone's panel. I got to help with like a conference. Like, people are really seeing my little Instagram page that has like only 5 or 10 posts at the time and really supporting. And it's really grown. I did something beyond my comfort zone and had a live taping. Most podcasts don't do live tapings till 4 and 5 years out the gate. I did it my third month. I had 2 International Women's Day Women in STEM panels, one in Dallas, one in Atlanta. And I was like, I want this. I think this is the perfect time to celebrate women. I think this is so needed. Let me just do it. And it worked out. There were hiccups, like my venues canceling on me the week of the viewing,
Um,
the week of, and I'm scrambling after work. I'm calling places on the weekends. I'm searching for places. And of course, everybody celebrates International Women's Day. There is no alternative. So I was just like, oh goodness. Ask for help. I tell anybody, ask for help. I was trying to do everything myself. I'd be like friends that are in Dallas, from Dallas. Hey, do you know any other location? Do you know this, that, the other? And so it ended up working out for me, learning how to get everybody to pick a date, because people were like, well, I'm maybe, because I had planned to post my flyer middle of February. I had to move it to March 1st, like just learning different things that you have to do when working with multiple groups and multiple schedules. But it all ended up being so great. And even the photographer for my event in Dallas was like, I even learned stuff, Ashley. He was like, actually, this was really good. Even we had some gentlemen that were allies for women in STEM and just advocates for the STEM field. And they were like, Ashley, this was amazing. Like everybody that came was like, this really impacted me. And I'm glad. I love what you're doing. Like, I was like, oh my goodness, thank you. People that you don't even know you're impacting, it impacts. And then Atlanta worked out great. I was so glad to get to go back home and do it, because it just worked out with my schedule for some other things I had going on, my cousin's weddings and things like that. So I was going to be in Atlanta, and it worked out great. My friends were all super supportive. Everybody was excited to be on the panel. They were like, yeah, sure. Like, what do you need from me? Everyone was so supportive. I had, of course, other allies for women in STEM in Atlanta as well. My friends really have been showing up for me through supporting, or even just helping me set up the room, or just helping me clean up, or just sharing a link, sharing a flyer, just listening and giving me critiques. So I've just been really happy about my support system, just learning by doing. And I'm excited to see how it'll grow over the next 5 and 10 years. I hope to give out scholarships to young students one day, and eventually host a conference one day. But right now it's just like, let me just start so I can keep it going.
that's super exciting. What you just made the step, you made the jump to start, and then all these
Yeah.
other things, all the support, all the people just started
Yeah.
pouring in because you took that first step.
Yeah. I would have never, when I tell you, I would have never expected it. I was so thankful, because, you don't want to bother people. People have their own lives. People have so much going on. And then they're like, actually, I love what you're doing. Like, people will messaged me on IG. Someone messaged me from India and said, I love this. Can I meet you? Like, people are really like reaching out worldwide. And I'm like, wow, people from other parts of the state, California, New York, are like, this is amazing. People are asking, can they be a guest? And I'm like, I'm only filming in Dallas and Atlanta right now. Hold on. I'm sorry. Like, because I have to learn how to do this like you. I have to, be able to have the bandwidth, and really, I don't want to do too much too fast, even though I said I'm just jumping for it. But I'm saying virtual is like a whole nother step. I take 4 or 5 hours to edit right now, just for the stuff I do in person. So I'm just like, let me take my time. I'm still learning to get my editing skills right. Let me make sure I can get the sound right, everything like that. I'm still learning my mics. I have not had an episode with the mic at all on my channel or podcast so far. All the ones I got messed up. So like, I'm still learning that. This mic I have today is the first one that has worked. The first one that has worked out of 5 sets of mics. So, learning and getting the right adapters, because so I'm just learning, and I'm happy, and I'm thankful, and I'm glad people are patient. But like I said, I'm just moving it, making it happen. And I'm going to try to keep improving episodes as I go. Like, I'll do a ring light, or I'll get a mic, or I'll work on my transition. I'm trying to like do the work to learn, how can I edit this better? What is the best software for me? What is best for my interface? So I'm just excited. And then for my 3-month goal, that's what I did with the podcast. So month 3, we got the podcast out. Month 1, we started the channel. Month 2, we did, what was February? I did an Instagram live with someone. Month 3, 2 was also International Women's Day. Excuse me. 2. Yeah. 2 events. And then month 3 was getting on the podcast. So I'm super excited. This summer, we're doing a Men in STEM series. I have amazing guests that will be on here, and we're doing a Men in STEM panel as well. So I'm just, moving and shaking and seeing, like, let's make a difference. I have a volunteer opportunity coming up in May for people. So I'm just, inching forward. So I'm excited.
I love how you're doing it in iterations, because I think a lot of times people can get stuck into like, and you mentioned it too, like when you were starting in 2020, 2021, you put stuff out, you're like, I don't know if it's ready yet. I don't know if I should put it out. But then you finally got to the point, it's like, no, I'm going to do this. I'm going to just figure it out as it happens. And I like to say, like, I know I talk about like failing forward, but I like to say that the path to success is actually paved with failure. You don't
Mhm.
get to anywhere successfully unless you fail along the way. And if you really
Yes.
think about it, because I've thought about it more, I think it's one of those things like you're getting older, which I'm not that old. I turned 31 this week, but yeah,
Happy early birthday.
hey, thank you. By the time this comes out, I've probably been 31 for a couple months, but oh well.
Yeah. Yeah.
But just realizing that everyone who has been successful has failed. And that's how
Yes.
I think about that. I'm like, okay, failure is part of
Yeah.
the process. It's not something to be
Yeah.
avoided. It's like
Mhm.
fail often, and then you get that much closer to success.
I agree 100% because when I first started too, I was kind of sad because I was like, I could have been 5 years in. I could have been, I'm seeing 5 year anniversary. I'm like, that could have been me. Like, actually, if you don't get up and start, if you see how much has grown just the 5 years since the pandemic, you would be like, that there's so much I could have done. So I was like, get over it, Ashley. Get to it, Ashley, and just do what you can. I even like have started even networking more. I'll go to mixers and just find people to like say, "Oh, are you interested in being a guest?" or check out this channel. It's really helped me get to expand a lot because I always networked in my job, but I really always want to have a personal brand separate from my company, and that's why this is so important to me because it's my brand forever. It's my baby, my way, my however I want to do it, and my rules. And so that was something that even happened before everything changed this year with companies. This was something I had in mind before that because I just always wanted to have my own personal brand separate because layoffs happen, things happen. I always wanted my own brand separate from Ashley at this job. So, and I love my job, of course, but I feel like it's super important too to have your own brand and do your own things and tell your own story and not have to worry about repercussions.
Yeah, having your own brand and being able to tell your own story is so true. I think podcasts are great for that. But
Mhm.
as we kind of wrap things up, I want to make sure, is there anything that we haven't talked about either with you or your story, or maybe you want to tell the audience as we kind of wrap things up?
First of all, thank you for letting me tell my story. This was so much
Or
fun. Oh my goodness. But I want to say be authentically yourself. Like, let me tell you, 2, 3 years ago, I would not have my hair like this in the workplace. But understand, like when we talk about imposter system, your work speaks for you. Be yourself, be comfortable, love yourself, give yourself grace. I can be so hard on myself all the time. Give yourself grace if I tell you nothing else and get your rest. Incorporate habits that promote rest or self care within your daily habits and routine because life is so busy. It's easy to get burned out. Network, support those who support you, and just be a light because you never know what people are going through. Those are just a few tips for me. They're all over the place, but you know, live life, enjoy the moment. I know during this journey, I got to accomplish a lot of things, but not until about 5 or 6, 7 months ago did I understand how to enjoy the moment because I was like, as soon as I moved here, I'm like, I miss Georgia. But when I was in Georgia, I couldn't wait to get wherever else was next. And you have to understand, enjoy the journey, enjoy the moment. You can accept and appreciate the present while still planning your future and understand there's balance to that. So that's all for me. And listen to your mentors, get a mentor, listen to their advice and ask questions because that's how you learn. And like Paul just said, don't be afraid to fail. So thank you. That's all I really have.
that's a lot of good advice. Thank you for sharing that and just being I
Yeah.
like even one of the first things you said, just being authentically yourself. I think that's something that now more than ever needs to be said and resaid because we live in a social media world where everyone's like showing all these different things and people are trying to be like this person, be like that person. But it's the reason why a lot of people on social media are so successful is because they are themselves and people can connect with that. And when someone else
Mhm.
is trying to be like them, it's like you're not being yourself, so that doesn't work.
Right.
So I
Right.
think that was really good advice along with everything else you said.
Thank you, Paul. And thank you. And you never know who you may impact. A lot of people, since me starting my journey, are like, Ashley, you've motivated me to start my own thing. You've motivated me. And I'll share my camera, what I edit with, all of them. I'm like, here, someone help me. Let me help you.
Yeah.
So yeah, I just been enjoying it and loving it. So thank you, Paul.
Absolutely. I want to make sure people know how to stay connected with you, whether it's socials or podcasts, all that. We share that.
Yeah. Yes, I can. On YouTube, we are All Things STEM with Ashley, as well as LinkedIn and Facebook. And on Instagram and TikTok, we are STEM with Ashley. And on all Spotify and all things Amazon Music, all that, that's All Things STEM with Ashley as well. And I will send it to Paul to be in the little bio show notes. But thank you for your support. Just please subscribe and share. Just to anyone it may impact, because even with me, I learned stuff from my guests. I had a girl that was a systems engineer. I didn't learn about systems engineering till I got in the workforce. I always knew mechanical, aerospace, all the other ones. But I'm sorry, I'm not going to get off topic. No. But yeah, that's all. That's how you can find me. But just know that you can learn a lot from other people. Yeah.
So true. You can learn a lot from other people. And I turn it to the audience. I know you learned a lot from Ashley's story, and really
Thank
being,
you.
being willing to try different things and
Mm-hmm.
not be afraid to do multiple things, because you're still working as in the aerospace industry along with building this platform. You have a passion for volunteering. You're doing all these things. You have a great passion, a great energy. I know things are going to be successful at all things STEM with Ashley.
Thank
And
you.
whether it's collaborating with IncrediPaul or some stuff on a nonprofit realm, we'll definitely be in contact there for sure. So I'm excited about what the future holds for you. But for everyone, keep being authentic, or if you're not being authentic, start being authentic. Seek out mentorship, keep pushing, keep trying, and keep being incredible.
Be sure to rate and review this podcast on your favorite podcast listening platform. We'll see you here next time. And be incredible. Incredible.